Let's talk about how to select the right editor for your nonfiction book. Now, picking the right editor is one of the biggest things that you can do in the book process. It's often the first time you're giving your book to somebody else to read. It's the person who's going to make edits, obviously, but it's the person who's going to really enhance your writing and really make sure that the book is ready for the next steps. Now, during this process, there are a few things that I like to think about from an author perspective that are really important to help you pick the right editor for your book. Because there are a lot of really, really great editors out there, but some editors don't do the style you need. Some editors only want to do one of the types of editing for your book. And so it's really important that you find the right fit. And I'm going to talk to you from an author perspective of how I go about looking to find the right editor. All right. And so what's really, really important is that when you're trying to find the right editor, really focus on who shows interest, who has the skill set you need, who communicates quickly, and who can work on the timeline you're looking at. So let's dig deeper into this, okay? I wanted to break up this video into a few sections, all right? One of them is going to be some general tips. The next one is going to be some questions that you can ask the editor to really make sure it's the right fit. And then the third section is I'm going to share with you some of the things that I personally am really on the lookout when I'm trying to hire a new editor. Now, I've been fortunate to work with some really, really great editors. I gotten to know dozens and dozens of editors. We recommend editors. We have lists of editors that we refer to our clients who work with us. And so we've done a lot of research, and this is what I've found to be most effective for authors who are looking for an editor for the first time or looking for an editor for another book to make sure they have the best experience. So here's the general process of how to pick the right editor. Number one is reach out to 3 to 5 editors, okay? Don't just reach out to one person and call it quits unless it's a personal recommendation and you know exactly who they are and you know more about them. But for most people, I want to encourage you to reach out to 3 to 5 editors. What you want to do is when you reach out to them is you want to see who responds the best, okay? What is the speed of their response time? What is the content of their response time? And then I like to personally jump on a call to get to know them. This isn't mandatory at all, but personally, when I'm building out a team, I want to get to know someone. I want to get on the phone with them, maybe even a Zoom. I want to make sure that our personalities match. Now, one important thing that you really want to do, and if you can do this before you reach out to editors, is do some research to see what type of editing you might need. So if you're doing a nonfiction book, you might need developmental and content editing. You might need line copy editing. You might need a combination of both. The biggest thing that I'd recommend, and I can give you more and more tips on this, but the biggest thing that I would recommend is do a little research to see what type of editing that you need. Now, for a lot of our clients who are writing nonfiction books to help people get results, a lot of the types of clients that we have often get a singular content and developmental edit along with 2 rounds of line copy edit. That tends to be one of the most common themes that we have seen from the dozens and dozens of editors we've worked with, as well as the dozens and dozens of clients that we've helped pair with editors or have hired editors or have edited their books for them. Okay, so let me just recap here. To find the right editor, you're going to reach out to 3 to 5 editors. You're going to do your research and understand kind of a general idea of what type of editing you're looking for. Hopefully your editor will give you advice on this. You're going to see who has the best communication style, both in speed and personality. You're going to ask them questions so you can really understand and get to know them and make sure it's a good fit. And then you're going to trust your gut and commit. All right, you're not going to spend 3 months going back and forth trying to figure out which is the best editor or who can save me $100 here and there. Trust your gut and commit, okay? Because there are a lot of great editors out there and they work really, really hard, okay? And so if you find someone, trust them. They're experts at what they do. And I know as an author, this can be so hard because it's sometimes the first time you're giving your book away to someone. This is your baby, you're giving it away. I get that. I've been there. But I can tell you what, when an editor who's really, really great works on your book, you are like, oh my gosh, this is even better than I could have imagined, okay? So now, once you've reached out to editors and you're communicating, here's how I really like to narrow down between which is the right person for me. I like to ask questions. I like to ask a lot of questions. Now, I probably over ask questions, but you know what? I'd rather ask more than not enough. And if someone doesn't want to answer all my questions, well, they might not be the right person for me. They're probably still wonderful and probably great for other people, but I like to do my due diligence. I like to ask questions. I like to get enough information in order to help me make the best decision possible. And once I have that information, I trust my gut and I commit. So here are a couple questions that you might be able to ask an editor when you're communicating to determine who's the best fit for you. Number one is, what is your process? Question number two is, what is the expected turnaround time? You want to know, how long is it going to take for this person? Some editors will work on different timelines. Depending on the types of editing, different editors will have different timelines. What are your rates? You want to make sure that you get a quote before just committing to somebody, especially if budget is a factor for you. Now, often they won't be able to just give you a blanket rate because they're going to need to see a sample. They're going to need to understand what type of editing is needed. So you'll often get your rates after you send them a sample, which is a great question. Hey, are you open to doing a sample first? Most editors will recommend doing a sample so they can properly quote you, but if not, make sure that you ask them if they will do a sample so that you can really see if you like their feel, okay? And if you're looking at a few different editors, based on the sample could also help you make a better decision for who's the right fit for you and your book. Another question you might want to ask is, what is your current availability for new project? Okay, sometimes editors are booked up 6 months in advance. Sometimes editors are ready to go tomorrow. Depending on who you're at, what time of the year, what projects they're working on. I mean, there's all types of things. And guess what? These are things out of your control. So make sure you ask, what is your availability? So you don't get super hyped and then they say, wait, I can't start for 4 more months. And you're like, 4 more months? I'm trying to get this done here in the next month, month and a half, 2 months, okay? Ask them, do you have a contract you'll sign? I personally like to have contracts in place just because it makes it more official. We're both very clear on what's expected from each other. Another question that I love to ask is, why does my book interest you? One of the things that I really believe when I'm building my book team, editor, designer, formatter, is I want people who aren't just seeing this as another book that they get to edit, that it doesn't matter whose book it is. I want them to be excited about me or the book or the topic or why they want to be a part of this. And that makes me feel that this is a team rather than just I'm another contract, another deal for them to do, another book for them to edit. That's a personal preference. But I want to make sure that I'm sharing my experiences of writing 4 books with you as you go through your own experience, because it might be helpful for you. So now, those are the questions. All right. Now, there are really 4 key characteristics that I look for in an editor. All right. Let's break these down here, because for me, once you've followed this process that I've shared with you, once you have absolutely dialed in your questions, there are 4 things that will help you make your decision so you could trust your gut and move forward. Number 1 is a good relationship. All right. Look for the editor who's excited about you. Look for an editor who is wanting to connect to you, not just get a sale. When you have that relationship, not only could it lead to a long-term relationship and multiple books, but it often will help both parties be more clear in communication. It'll help both parties feel more confident in each other. It'll allow both parties to trust each other more and let each other do what they do best. And so there's no micromanaging, because there's that level of, we got a rapport, we got a relationship. The second criteria that I really look for in an editor is that they have good experience. All right. So you want to make sure that you find an editor who has done books, who has edited books that are similar to yours. Maybe it's a similar genre. Maybe it's a similar style. Maybe it's a similar voice. Okay. Maybe it's they've edited books from an author who lives in your region, your country, okay, your state. Like, depending on language and different things like this, that can be really, really important. So you want to look for good experience. So the first thing, good relationship. The second thing is good experience. The third thing is you want to have a good vibe. All right. You want to have a good vibe. You want to make sure you like their style of communication. Is it easy to understand what they're saying? Do you resonate with how they're communicating with you? If they are very, very strict and you are a little bit looser and you would like something to be a little more looser and just kind of more casual, well, that might not be a good fit for you. But if you want someone who's going to be like, here's how it is, here's what we're doing, here's the things that I would change, and that's your style, boom, it's going to be a match made in heaven. All right. And then the fourth criteria that I really look for is good pricing. Make sure the editor's rate works within your budget. Budget is important, but this is a necessary investment, in my opinion. I've done books that have not had professional editing, and I've had books done with professional editing. And I'll tell you what, the books with professional editing are light years ahead of the books that don't have professional editing. And so I would say, look, I understand that you might be on a budget. I understand that you might be not available to pay tens of thousands of dollars to get your book edited, but there are editors at every single financial level. Okay. And editors are great people. People are always willing to negotiate. That doesn't mean you want to try to pinch them for every penny, but what it does mean is that it's okay to talk about this with your editor. Hey, look, I was expecting to get in this range. Is this something that we can do? No? Okay, you know what? That's all right. But this will help you also get really, really clear on which editor is going to be the best for you. And so when you have a good relationship, you have good vibe, you have good experience and good pricing, that makes the selection of editor that much easier. So I hope that this video has kind of laid out how to select the right editor for your book. And if you want a completely free script to reach out to an editor, you can text the word free to 661-669-7363. And I'll give you a free copy of my book, Big Idea to Bestseller, which also has a free script of what you can reach out to an editor with. All right. Again, text the word free to 661-669-7363. And I'll see you on the next one.